Hi, welcome along to AFTV News Daily. We got the man Chris Hudson in the building with me. Yet again, back by popular demand, by the way. Every time you come on here, they're like, get him back on it. I told you that you're going to be a regular on here. And you know, I've got to big up, first of all, before we even get started, I've got to big up the guys last night. Turkish and Dan Potts. That show was brilliant last night. Trust me, what a show that was. Some great opinions on it.
I did see, I was at the Lion King last night.
Yeah, I heard that. The Lion King.
Got a bit of culture.
A bit of culture, eh? How was it?
It was very good. I highly recommend it.
Yeah?
I think my week could be summed up in the good, the bad and the ugly.
All right.
The good was the Lion King.
Yeah.
The damn right ugly was watching the under-23s on Monday night lose 6-1 to West Ham. And I went there to get me mind off of things. And the bad... Well, you know.
Well, we know what the bad is, yeah. You went to Ty was there, and I think Cecil went to that as well.
I saw.
And they called me. I spoke to Cecil at half time. He goes, "Oh, really? It's not bad, man. It's 1-1."
I think it was 1-0. I can't remember. In the end, Rob, I was sitting there.
6-1. They did have a few first teamers out there, didn't they?
Being fair, they had 4 first team players. And it's not all. There were some very good individual players in the Arsenal team,
like who?
Taylor Hart, Omar Hutchinson's a wonderful footballer, but at the back, Rob, God help us.
So there's nobody at the back that could come through into.
I'm terribly sorry to say.
No one that could step up and come through.
Not what I saw. You know, you can't be that harsh. They're kids.
Yeah.
Not on what I saw on Monday, but you can't judge a person on just 90 minutes. You got to see them more. But it
6-1.
It didn't do me any favours mentally.
He went there to get his mind off of it. To get his mind off of that 2-0, to see us get peppered 6-1. Oh man. Only an Arsenal fan. Only us. Well, anyway, I've got some good news for you. Good. Right. Odegaard had his medical today, and looks like that's probably get announced tomorrow. If not, maybe later on tonight. Maybe it might announce it later on tonight. But Odegaard is a gooner again.
Yeah, I'm happy about it. Well, quality footballer, young age, he can improve, and we haven't paid through the nose for him either. So
30 million.
I think that's a bargain. He's a quality footballer, and it's all about opinions. I think I said last week, I'd rather have him than Maddison.
Yeah, you did say that.
I'd much rather have Odegaard.
Yeah. And we're on the verge of signing Aaron Ramsdale as well.
Yeah, I'm happy about it.
We know we need a goalkeeper, especially after last week. Aaron Ramsdale's kind of divided opinion. I think a lot of that is because at first, when we saw that price tag of 35 million, 40 million, we're like, what are we doing? But now it's going to probably be around about 24 million. Remember, they did pay nearly 19 million for him.
That's right.
Happy with that?
Yeah, I am.
Aaron Ramsdale?
Because Leno needs pressure.
Is that good competition for Leno, do you think?
I think it is, yeah. He's not. I think he's going to come. He took a lot of stick. Apparently, a lot of Arsenal fans were going in on him on social media, which I thought was disgusting. Once you put that shirt on, you get behind him. But that's beside the point. But I want him to put Leno under severe pressure because I think Leno needs it. You
were saying to me earlier that Ramsdale's actually an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, his brother sent out a tweet today saying he's over the moon that he's playing with the Arsenal, which I thought was fantastic. Just get behind it. Don't have a go at a bloke before he's put a shirt on, for God's sake. And it looks really bad on our supporters as well.
Yeah,
it's only a minority, I hasten to add.
Yeah, I think where the Ramsdale stick thing comes from, as I said, is I just felt that at first.
Yeah, the fee.
It's the fee. It was the fee. You looked on it and like, for Aaron Ramsdale, you're like, that's not Donnarumma. I mean, it's Aaron Ramsdale, 40 million quid, and we were thinking about it, and then 35 million, and I'm thinking, are we going mad? No, he's not worth that. And even the games I've seen him sometimes, I've seen him make a few errors. So I was like, but he can't be that bad. If he's, I was saying it on my transfer show this morning. If he's, he made the England squad.
Yeah.
Right. So making the England squad tells us that he's amongst one of the best England goalkeepers out there.
Yeah, of course he is. So, but I think he'll make his debut. I see him making his debut at West Brom in the League Cup next week.
Yeah.
I think he'll possibly. Get around that. And you know what? Let's not rule out the fact that you know, I don't think he might be starting as number 2, but I'll be very interested to see what position he is come the end of the season. You know, he could be number 1.
Yep, and listen, he's got a lot to play for. He's coming in at Arsenal. It's going to be a World Cup year, remember? You know, 2022 World Cup. So he's going to want to do well. He's going to want to, you know, so... it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. 24 million then, do you think that's a decent price?
It's a reasonable price, yeah. If an England goalkeeper.
Is he in the top 5 goalkeepers in the Premier League?
No, not yet. But he's got the potential to get there. I wouldn't say he's in the top. That's a bit. There's no way.
No, but I'm just talking about the amount of money we paid for him.
He's not in the top 5. But
so have we overpaid then?
Possibly, but possibly we might be desperate because we need a keeper, Rob.
But we had a keeper there, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, we let him go for nothing. I
mean, I know, you know, there's been talk that Mikel Arteta and the board, they wanted an English keeper. I think Matt Ryan himself said that
that's right.
They said to him they want an English goalkeeper, but could have got Sam Johnson, the same guy you're talking about.
Could have been, but there's doubts about his ability with the ball at his feet.
Here we go again. This thing about ball at his feet, ball at his feet.
That's the modern football.
What about?
Can he save?
Can he save? Yeah.
Yeah.
What about when the long throw comes in?
Yeah, well, we'll find that.
What are you like underneath that? What about when those crosses get whipped in? Because you know what? More of that happens than the ball being played back to you at your ball at your feet.
Fair enough, Rob. But and I'll tell you what, we'll see how good he is, because West Brom do play a lot of corners, throw-ins, etc.
And they won 4-0 last night, didn't they? Against Sheffield United.
That'll be an interesting game next week.
It will be.
And an important game.
Let me go for a couple of super chats here. Red White Pappy 93 says, "Hi Robbie and Chris. It's fair to say that Arteta has his squad now. No more excuses then. Hopefully a right back and another central midfielder. Cheers, guys." Evening chap says, "Aaron, quick question for you both. Would you let Stan take your missus out on a getaway weekend if he meant that he sold to Daniel Ek?"
Yes.
I think yes. I don't think Stan would be doing much. You know what I mean? So yeah, you could do. Yeah. Transgender Nurse Callie says, "Happy Chris is back. He talks sense. None of the signings excite me though. Bring in Awar to put pressure on the midfield area, but the price is a bargain. Apparently, Awar 17 million we could get him for."
Yeah, well, they're saying he actually has been transferred this year.
Yeah. They played their first game at the weekend on Lyon. They got mullered against Angers, and apparently the rumour is that they're so unhappy with him and certain other players that they're willing to. But I think 17 million. That's a steal.
I think this goes back. It's his attitude. That's the big worry about him, isn't it? And at the moment, if say hypothetically we bought him, do we want another player clashing with Arteta? Do you understand? Is Arteta good enough to manage him?
True. Ganapathy Ram says, "Robbie, please stop telling us he made the England squad." He's on about Ramsdale. "He was called in just because Pope and Henderson were injured. He's not even a top 4 England goalkeeper. He's okay." Well, we'll like Chris says, we'll find out.
We'll find out.
Got to give him a chance, haven't we? Haddy says, "We've addressed some areas we need, but we need 2 signings, a right back and a striker. They need to excite us, like Ricardo Pereira," West Brom, isn't it? "And Lautaro Martinez." And James Harper says, "We bought White and United bought Varane. We bought Odegaard and City bought Grealish. Buying decent players won't close the gap. Let's get real." Well,
but we're not on the same. We're not on the same.
We haven't got 100 million to spend on one player.
So that's
Kartik says, "Does any of the 5 signings excite you, Robbie? That can make a significant impact, like Martinez or Maddison probably would have."
Yeah, but the thing
you excited?
It's not whether I'm excited. It's whether these players can do the job. Just because you spent a lot of money on a big name and we're all excited.
129 million. Let me just show you something here, Chris, right? Leicester have spent 55 million. So this is so far in the transfer window. Leicester have spent 55 million. Aston Villa have spent 93 million. Chelsea have spent 97.5 million. Manchester City have spent 100 million. Manchester United have spent 114 million, and they are excited. We've spent 129 million. We've spent the most money of any Premier League club so far. You excited?
I wouldn't say the players excite me, but
shouldn't you be excited we spent that amount of money?
Not really, because I think in the last 5 years, Rob, I think we've spent nearly over £300 million on transfers, and really you got to say, out of that 350 million, some of them would have excited you the day you signed them, but a year on from when you signed them, not only are you not excited, you think you've done a wrong in here. So perhaps.
So whose fault is it then? Because can we blame the Cronkies? 129 million.
No, I don't think
the most so far this season. The most.
I don't think you can blame them. You know, they have whatever you say, whatever your opinions are on the owners, they have put up, and it's now up to Arteta to manage them. But then, in its own way, that brings even more pressure on the manager.
Yeah, I mean, Red White Pappy 93 says, also, Robbie, I said it earlier to you and Turkish on the show once, if things don't work out with Arteta, we should definitely go for Graham Potter.
I'm not too sure about that, Rob. He's a good manager. He's done a good job wherever he's been.
That wouldn't excite me at all.
No, but
there's somebody here said 130 million. Robert Smith says, and still the team won't have improved. Danny Hines said, I'd sooner Arsenal have spent 30 million on Onana. If it makes sense, then Arsenal ain't interested.
It just shows. All seriousness, though, it does show you the negative way all Arsenal. At the moment, Arsenal, everything with Arsenal is negative, Rob, isn't it? Let's be honest.
At the moment, yeah.
You can't put the radio on without people slaughtering them. You know what I mean? It's just one. And the thing is, they don't help themselves by the way they started the season Friday. Yeah. It was awful.
Twisted Soul says we've spent over 350 million since Wenger left.
That's true.
Is our team any better than in 2018?
No.
So what's going on? 350 million.
You got to look at the people who are doing the recruitment. Well, but then you know what? That's not just Edu. That was the person before him and the person before him. It's been a long, big catalogue of errors.
Mohammed Youssef says, in the past, transfers have been poor, but I quite like the direction we've took this summer. We've signed young players with good potential in positions we need. We are rebuilding. Everybody needs to relax.
Well, I know what he means, because you look at the boy from Anderlecht. Say this time next year, he could be a £50 million footballer.
Yeah.
But you just, I know it's hard. I mean, I'm an hypocrite saying, you got to be patient, because I'm not the most impatient person you ever meet.
I know.
But the thing is, you know what? I know it's hard, because this is why I hate the window being alive when we're playing football. All this should have been done, Rob. I just can't stand this mess. I hate it.
Same for every team, though, Chris.
I know, but I just...
Same Jay says, we've spent so much on young players this window. I highly doubt we'll sign any big names for years to come. This is project time. We will tell if it works. Project time.
You don't know that. All you say, Daniel Eck, say hypothetically the Cronkies did sell, Eck will come in, he'd want to make a statement signing, wouldn't he? You just don't know, do you?
Yeah. Vinit says, I'm a Man United fan, but I've got to say, spending 129 million in one window when you need so many players in so many positions, it still is the owner's fault. I think we've got to take that into. I mean, I just read out that sort of stat there with the spending. You know, we have used that. That is so far, and probably some of those teams will end up spending more than us. But we have bought a lot of players as well. Yeah. I mean, it's been spent on 5 players. However, has it been spent on the right players? That's what we're going to find out. AT Football says, fair point saying our squad hasn't improved enough. Wrong to say it hasn't improved at all. Sambi really promising. Odegaard improved us last year.
Well, you know, he's quality. Obviously, the one I was quite upset we didn't get Abraham, as you know. I really wanted him.
AT Football. Oh, sorry, I just read that one. On the this is what I can't. I think a lot of it is when you sort of think about the signing of Odegaard. I'm with you. I even weeks ago when people asked me, they said, would you rather sign Maddison or Odegaard? I said, listen, I'd love Maddison, but I'd be cool with Odegaard.
Of course you would.
Because I think he's a quality player. He's 22, remember. He's a captain of Norway. So you're getting leaders on the pitch. Even at 22, he's got that's showing you that he's got some sort of leadership qualities, right? For him to be captain of Norway at 22, right? He was at Arsenal. I was, forget he only had 2 goals, but I liked what I saw with him. He was dynamic. He wanted the ball. He worked hard. He was a very, very, very good player. And I know he couldn't get into the Real Madrid team when he went back, but I think that's a very, very positive signing. And when people are like, yeah, but we paid 30 million for him, but we were all saying, oh, let's get Buendia, who's a bit older. And
he's not in the same
people
class.
were like, oh, 36, 37 million. He's, I don't see what the problem is. I think a lot of it is because he was here already. So it's that excitement thing, innit? You can't really get super excited because he was already here.
No, you can't, but all this is super excitement. It's this how excited we are in May. Let's see what sort of seasons he's had. As I said, we bought loads of players who people, we bought blah, blah, blah. Are you excited? You say, yeah, great. And then 6 months down the line, you're thinking, what have we done here?
Yeah. James Harper says, Wenger told us in 2007, we have a young squad and we need to be patient, and we've only won a couple of FA Cups since. Needed proven players. We are stupid, he says.
You say we've only won, I can name about 7 or 8 clubs who wouldn't mind a couple of FA Cups. One being Tottenham, Everton, Newcastle, just 3 to start off with.
Yeah, true.
So never dismiss winning a trophy.
True. Nick Goulart says it's sad that our team is still miles behind the teams at the top in the Premier League after £129 million being spent. Shows how far people are running things have let us fall.
But the thing is, if you, in the real world, if you want to get back to Man City, £129 million buys you nothing. So if you want to get to their level, you got to outspain Man City, outspain Man U, outspain Chelsea. Then you overtake them. But that ain't going to happen at Arsenal.
No.
And it never has.
Jeff says, Robbie, please say get excited in an American accent, Kroenke style. Get excited, right? Also, we should sign Martinez from Aston Villa instead of Ramsdale. Well, that ain't going to happen. We had him, didn't we? Vinit says, who is your Vieira or Roy Keane on the pitch? The leader. Xhaka looked down upon, and no one else is really going to get these youngsters following their footsteps. Well, let's wait and see. Yeah, I hear what he's saying. There's no real...
But Tierney, I think, is a leader.
Yeah.
If you think he's captain, he's leader, Odegaard's a leader, there are some there.
People are not feeling the fact that we've done well with this money. Shref says, only Arsenal can spend 129 million and not move ahead. We haven't got even a single Champions League level player.
Because we're not at that level.
Owners have spent, but very little and in vain. We can't sell. That's another problem, Chris. Yeah, we're going to come to that in a second, actually.
Yeah,
Let's do a couple more of these super chats. Harsh says, Arsenal need difference players, difference makers. United was 7th when they signed Bruno. He took them to 4th. And now they're challenging. We buy mediocrity. That's a good point. That is a player that has changed the team. And big up Paul Surin there with a super chat. Going back to that, I forgot the point now.
About selling players.
Yeah. There's a lot of players that need to be sold now. We're talking about 129 million. There's a lot that needs to be recouped. You got Torreira, you got Ainsley Maitland-Niles, you've got Eddie Nketiah. Is Mohamed El Neni going to stay?
Yeah, Nelson.
Reece Nelson, Kolasinac.
Question mark Lacazette, Bellerin. Question mark Leno. Question mark.
That's nearly 9 players that they'd like to leave, but
who
wants them?
Well, the thing is that it's not just Arsenal's got that problem, Rob. There's all football's in that position. Loads of clubs have got players they just can't move on. So, really, if Arsenal want to move them on, they might have to bite the bullet and what they're asking for them, just to get them off the wage bill.
There's a lot of those players that are going to still be here, come the end of the transfer window. I read Lucas Torreira. I think it's Chris Wheatley today tweeted out and said Lucas Torreira wanted to stay at Arsenal this summer, but Mikel Arteta told him, you're not part of my plans. Now, do you think we should have maybe sort of brought Torreira back into the fold and try and get the best out of him? Or do you think, move him on, he's right?
For Torreira, as I said the other week, the first 6 months he was just wonderful, wasn't he? He was singing that song, the crowd loved. He scored that great goal against Tottenham, and then he just went off a cliff. But he's never. I don't. If Arteta don't.
But what about giving him a? Shouldn't.
Well, I don't think Arteta.
Has he been given a chance? Has he been given a chance by Arteta?
I don't know. I don't think he has. But obviously, we don't know what he's like on the training pitch and all things like that. We only see what we see.
We ain't seen him on the training pitch, because he's been on loan.
Perhaps he's had bad reports from the clubs he's been at. I don't know. I'd sell him, Rob. I would let him go.
Maybe sell him. But I'm saying the fact that he said that. He wanted to come back and play. So now he's saying, I want to come and play. And the manager says, well, actually, mate, you're not part of my plans. He's not really taken a look at him yet. Well, I think
with Arteta, it's black or white. Oh, you're in or you're out.
Because quite a few players now, isn't it? Guendouzi, no chance, you're out. Yeah. Saliba.
Yeah, Torreira there. Unfortunately, that's how the manager is.
Yeah.
And that is either a strength or weakness. Yeah. And we're going to find out.
We're going to find out. Red Square says Ramsdale's not even in the top 20 keepers in the Premier League.
Please stop this Ramsdale.
The fact that he's expected to compete with Leno Howe, just like Willian, he won't be a surprise flop.
No, I'm just totally ignoring that comment, Rob.
You think that's unfair?
I think we've got to stop this agenda. It's really depressing.
We've got to get it. Yeah, you're right. We've got to give him a chance, haven't we?
Of course you have.
I was reading today where Sheffield United fans were saying that they haven't got enough money in for him. £24 million not enough, so they must rate him.
Yeah.
Carlisle says, would it be fun if Odegaard brings in his mate, Haaland?
That'd be fat. No. Yes, that would be.
That would be a shock to shake up Europe.
Yeah. That could be Daniel X statements signing.
That would be it, mate. Chris wouldn't be going to watch Lion King no more or nothing like that. He'd be renewing his season ticket for the next 5 years.
Yeah, but you are.
Owen Campbell says, with all due respect, Robbie, but in response to the title, has it been a good transfer window? Shorter answer is fuck no, he says, with all due respect.
But we won't know the answer to that till about 6 months down the line.
Ty says, Ty Adam Remy says, our recruitment sucks. We don't have to outspend. We need smart signings. We passed on Van Dijk and bought Mustafi. The epitome of our stupidity.
That's a very good quote. That's a good comment. Yeah. And I'll throw in another one we should have bought was the Evans.
Johnny Evans,
we could have got him for free.
But remember, but hold on. Now you make a great point here, right? We could have got him for how much?
Nothing.
Right. Do you remember? I remember very well because I was doing Transfer Daily. When I started saying we've been linked with Johnny Evans, people like, oh my God, Arsenal, terrible mediocrity. Yeah. How can we go and get this reject? Man United reject. No, we don't want him anywhere near our club.
Great point, Rob, and that proves what we're saying. You just got Evans. I'll tell you what, he's one of the best defenders in the Premier League.
There was Gary Cahill as well that we could have
another one.
And that was another one. No, we don't know. Chance, don't want him.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to bang on about it. I'll throw Tammy Abraham in. What do you want another Chelsea reject? Let's see what he does in Rome. Let's see how many goals he gets.
All right. Paul Sheeran says, we should not forget Arsenal have left the train 5 to 8 years ago. The transition is not going to happen over 2 to 3 years. It has been holes patching up for years. Players need to be proud of their club.
I think the youngsters are proud to wear the shirt. I think Tierney's proud to wear the shirt.
Smith Rowe.
Yeah, I think the goalkeeper's proud to wear the shirt, according to what his brother was saying.
Leno.
No, they're Ramsdale.
Michael Warnock says, Torreira for El Neni, he says. We also need 8 like Awar to replace Willock. swap Bellerin for Emerson from Barcelona, and sort out the striker problem.
Yeah, we need. I do agree
you know
with
what?
that.
Going back to what that guy's just said there now, right? Torreira's not part of the plans, but El Neni is.
Yeah, well, that's down to
Who's
the
better than... I'm sorry, right? For me, if it's down to them two, Torreira all day long.
But we ain't managing them well. Arteta is. And unfortunately...
Well, he might be in the same position as us if he don't get things right, I'll tell you that.
Unfortunately, it's his judgment that counts at the moment.
You know what? I said this week as well that I'm trying my hardest not to be too negative. But when I see things like that, I think...
It's very hard to not be negative following Arsenal, Rob.
Yeah, it's true. AT Football says, question for Chris. Might not happen this window, but thoughts on a move for Calvert-Lewin would have a similar effect to Abraham for us. Big up AFTV.
Says. Great point. I would walk over, busted glass to get Calvert-Lewin at Arsenal. He'd be fantastic for us.
Great in the air, innit?
Oh, yeah.
All the crosses we're putting in.
Oh, he'd be wonderful. But if Everton sold him, there'd be a riot, wouldn't there?
Yeah. Everton in a bit of FFP trouble, isn't they? They haven't really signed anyone, have they?
Yeah, that's interesting. But they're backed by Usmanov. Is he still on the ball there? And they've got money behind. I can't see how they would sell him unless... I just can't see it, Rob. But perhaps if we get back into Europe or the Champions League, so a year on from now... Yeah, that's a fantastic point.
Shrev says, even if Ben White turns out to be a prime Virgil van Dijk or Paolo Maldini this season, was defence our priority? No. Watch Sabitzer go to Bayern for 15 million and boss it.
Yeah, he's a good player. But I suppose because we lost Louise, he had to people forget that. We have to replace him.
Yep.
And I thought Ben White took a lot of unnecessary stick on his first game last week as well. But, you can't... You've got to settle. Let's hope he does go on to show what a player he is. I thought he was the worst players on the pitch than him last week.
Yeah, but the problem is because of the price tag.
Yeah, that's
spot. I think what it is with Mikel Arteta, he's put. It's been very bold what he's done this summer transfer window, right? In that he's brought in a lot of players that they weren't your obvious.
No,
but he said, "You're my guy." So Ben White, nobody was thinking Ben White before the start of this transfer window. We'd heard of Ben White. We knew he was a good player, but nobody was thinking Ben White. And he's like, no, I want Ben White. He's the answer to making my team play in the way I want it. 50 million quid is worth it. Get him. Bold. I want Ramsdale.
Done it.
I don't care about these other keepers you lot are telling me about, or Nana and that. I want Ramsdale. 24 million, 30 million at first. He was like, go and get him. I want him. All right, the board said, right, got him. That's 2. Right? He's wanted Odegaard. I want Odegaard.
Got him.
It's got him. That's 3 players there. Sambi Lokonga and Tavares are sort of youngsters. 3 players there. Those are Mikel Arteta's guys. Those are the guys he wanted.
And he's got them.
And he's got them. He's got to get the best out of them now. He's not going to have excuses.
No.
You're not going to be able to say, I ain't had a pre-season, because you have. You had 6 games in pre-season. You're not going to be able to say, I didn't have my players, because you got your players.
That's what
you're never going to, and let's have it right, you're never going to get all the players you want. You're never going to get a brand new 11, but this is his team now. Even players like, people might look and go, oh, Xhaka ain't his player. No, he is.
He is.
Because he was on his way out.
He's giving him a
right?
deal.
And you said no. They don't want to cough up the right money. You didn't say, all right, we'll take a little lower, get him out, clear a way to bring in this. No. They ain't got the money. I want him. Give him a new contract, long-term contract. That's his guy. Torreira, yeah, Mikel, I want to come back.
See you later.
Nope, not part of my plans. That's your decision. These are all his decisions now.
Yeah.
These are his players. This is his squad that he's gone with. You've had your pre-season. You've had your honeymoon period. There are no excuses. It's big now for Mikel Arteta. Next couple games coming up are tough games. I don't even include in them now the 2 games coming up. It's free. On Sunday, West Brom, who won 4-0 last night against Sheffield United and started the Championship very well, retained a lot of their players that they had when they was in the Premier League last. That's going to be a tough game. A game that we're expected to win because we ain't really got a lot to fight for. League Cup now, as you're looking at, you said in the last time you came on, you're like, Robbie, if we can win the League Cup, we're in Europe in January, right? That's how you were looking at it. That's what you knew you got West Brom, right? And at the weekend, next weekend, early kickoff, 12:30 kickoff against Manchester City away, which could be a Manchester City that features Harry Kane by that time, by the way.
God help us.
This is a big moment for him.
And if it all goes horribly wrong, he's got no one to blame but himself.
Yeah.
He can't blame the ball.
They're bold decisions. They're bold moves.
So in one hand you've got to admire him. It shows he's got the courage of his convictions, which I suppose when you're in that sort of job, you've got to be that mentally tough. So for all our sakes, because I don't want to go through another. Are we going to get another manager in? So you've got to pay him off. Another backroom staff. He may not fancy it. This manager might come in not fancy Odegaard. I just don't want to go through all that again. So for everyone's sake, we got to pray, and I mean we might have to pray, Rob. He's got avoid defeat against Chelsea. Even a draw wouldn't be the end of the world.
He's a Turkish pastor's a Bible over there, man. Or the Quran or something. We better start saying those prayers now. I'll tell you that.
And I'll tell you something else. I know you might laugh. The West Brom game is massive. You do not lose to West Brom. I'm telling you now, for the reasons you just said.
Yeah.
And then you go,
huge moments.
And if it all goes wrong, Rob, I'm not giving him 12, 13 games. Or we got Norwich, we got Birmingham, or perhaps we give him the North London derby.
You wouldn't give him that long?
No, I'm afraid not. No, I wouldn't. I mean, I don't want to be.
You talking about patience earlier on?
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to be walking down that road. But the thing is, then you go back to the other argument. If he goes, who are they going to put in? But so let's hope we don't get there.
Conte's out there.
You got no chance. let's hope it don't happen because it'll be great. I don't want to see Arsenal get humiliated Sunday, Rob.
100%.
It's awful. You think on Sunday, like most people, most Arsenal fans, you've had COVID, you've had 18 months of hell, and you think you're going to get up Sunday, but the sun might be out. You're going to go to the Arsenal, see all your mates, and you're going to sit there, and you. Bang, 4-1 to Chelsea. How do you think that'll go down? No, it ain't happening. They've got to try and get a result.
Averin says, Don Rob Meister, are you Arteta in or out? It's not for me. Listen, I'm not these in and or out guy like that. I want the guy to do well. Yeah, I'm like Chris. I think it's very bold what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I didn't like what I saw last week. I was very, very worried, and I feel that my patience is running out with Mikel Arteta because I saw a lot of very poor performances last season, and what I saw the other day was a continuation of that. He finished off the season well. I want to see something from him now. I've like a lot of things that I've given him. I was talking me personally, but a lot of things that have happened, I've given him a pass on. I'm like, yeah, that's because of that. And you didn't have this, but now. All of that is on you. You've made very bold decisions. You're even going to prove to be a real top manager who makes big decisions and backs himself, or you don't know what you're doing. It's one of those two. Lewis says, where is our creativity coming from? Definitely not our style of play. Odegaard, is he the player that in 14 games created 2 assists and 1 goal? Yet again, there is a creativity. Where's the creativity coming from? Personally, looking at it, I don't feel... I looked at that game last week. I was at the game, and I was like, it wasn't just the fact that we were missing a number 10. It was the team was not creating enough. And I saw that in a lot of games last season, that there was no creativity with the way we played.
But the thing is,
we spent half of the time with the ball in our own back 4.
But the thing is, if you're not creating, at least defend well, Rob. I mean, God,
Yeah,
God,
well, that's it as well.
Both goals were.
Yeah, they were shocking. The defence was terrible. Gunners Forever says, Odegaard done, announce Haaland, Robbie. Well, I wish I could. And Dinesh says, strengthening the defence was important. I don't get how many you can play out from the back, how many times you can play out from the back without getting a suitable defender in the first place. He says, get a new right back as soon as possible. Ben White has been brought in because, that's one of his strengths, is playing the ball out from the back. Niraj says, Lingard and Darlow would have cost less. It's very easy to just throw players in and quote and say this player, that player. The thing is,
on the right back, I mean, is there a dearth of right backs? Because other than Max Aarons, everyone seems to hit a brick. I mean, West Ham have got a good young right back, and I forget his name. He played the other night. I wish I remembered his.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
And I think West Brom have got a good right back as well.
Soufal.
He's
Koufal,
good. Yeah, but I'm talking about they've got a young English boy playing there, right? A really good player. Yeah. There are right backs, but they're in. You might have to go down the Championship to get them. Yeah.
Brandon AFC TV says the journalists were right about the 150 million war chest, and what they didn't tell us is that we'd be spending it preparing for the Championship. Ramsdale and Wright. But mate, the war chest was right. 129 million so far. And probably going to spend a bit more. So maybe that. My friend Turkish there told me that, there ain't no war chest. He's over there in the background there laughing. Maybe there was a war chest. Yeah. 129 million. Because we're going back to what I said there. We spent a lot of money.
We just hope we spent it wisely, Rob.
Well, that's it. Same Jay says, honest question, guys. Would you sack Arteta if he loses the next 2 games? He says, I wouldn't. Not to say I want him here, but most managers would lose those games.
But then let's say we don't want to please anger, but let's say they did lose the next 2 matches. He'd be under so much pressure, it'd be unbearable. I mean, you think things are bad now. Can you imagine what it'd be if he was to lose, say, to Chelsea and West Brom?
You didn't answer the question. We know all that. You ain't answered the question.
Will I get rid of him?
If he loses the next 2 games and you were in charge.
Yeah, I'm afraid. I hate saying it, I think I'll have to. But I'd make sure I'd had someone.
It's tough games, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
Chelsea just bought Lukaku. City, wouldn't you maybe look on it and say, all right, he's lost those 2, but I've got to give him at least the next few games after that.
Yeah, but we're Arsenal Football Club. You shouldn't be accepting defeat like that. Sorry, I don't care who you're playing. That's wrong.
Do you expect to beat Chelsea?
I'll Chelsea. Chelsea are better than us on paper, and we got quite a good record against them. Chelsea. I'm just hoping against hope, Rob.
Do you expect to beat City away?
No, not in a million years. But they know him.
It's as if he lost them then. Now you're going to sack him.
Well, I don't know, Rob.
What's your expectations of this team for this season? If you were in charge, you're in charge. Yeah, what's your expectations this season?
I demand top 6 and a bonus, a League Cup sitting on the sideboard or A Cup. But my main aim would be get back into European football. And see the crowd, see a bit of optimism, play some good football, introduce possibly even more youngsters. That's what I want. Just lift the doom and gloom surrounding the club. Let's see something, we can see a plan here, we can see a future. That's what I want to see.
Do you know what, Chris, you make a great point, because it's not, top 6 minimum. But I don't think it's just that. What you just said there, I feel is very true. I want to see some good football from this team. I want to see some entertaining football. I want to see some good, free-flowing, attacking football. I want to see an identity to what Mikel Arteta is doing. And I feel that's one of the big things that's going against him at the moment, is that when I look at Mikel Arteta's teams, or our team, shall I say, I don't know what our style is. Do you?
No, I can't argue with that. He has to attend, and also we want to see attacking play, Rob, which is nice. But I would like to see the continuation of the defence. I think we had the 3rd best defence in the league last year. So we want to see a continuation of that. I like to see Arteta improve a player. Because I think Saka and Smith Rowe, they've come in, but now I want to see them go to the next level.
Yeah, I want to see, because I look at that. If you really break it down, you look at that team. There's some good players in there. I say it all the time. You know, I even think that there's some players in there that have been much criticised that I don't feel we're getting the best out of that. They may not be the answer. Hector Bellerin may not be the answer at right back, but he's not as bad as what I've seen.
No.
There's something wrong there. I mean, we know he wants out, so maybe that could be part of it. But are we playing him right? Is all this inverted, this stuff, is that the right way to play him? Well, do we need to find a better way in which to fit him in?
Well, it brings me to my pet subject of Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
Yeah.
I keep going on and on about there's a footballer there, Rob.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there. What is he doing with his career? I know you've said before. You've told me we had this conversation that right back spot is up for grabs.
Well,
Why is he not grabbing it?
The guy said to me that they were at the game the other day. And I'm not going to say who. Somebody told him that Ainsley has asked to play at right back.
Well, what's the problem there?
And this is what I'm saying. So a lot of big decisions are being made by Mikel Arteta. But going back to what you said, I just want to see this team entertain me now. Yeah. You know, show us something. Show us some. I think this is up to the manager. When we play against Chelsea, put our best foot forward, man. I feel if we lost those next couple of games, but we really made a fist of it.
Yeah.
I think there's, obviously you're still going to get a lot of fans who'll be like, nope, lost our first 3 games of the season, off he goes. But I think there'll be some other fans saying, I saw something there, man. I saw something there. I need to start seeing that, because I think that that was the thing that even really upset me about that Brentford game. It's like, I was like, what is this?
It's awful.
What is this?
I know people laugh. I've seen Arsenal, obviously, those matches, but it took me, it took me forever to get over that game Friday.
I'm still not over it.
And I'll tell you something else, it really affected the support. Well, and I'm talking about people I know have been going to Arsenal a long time, and they slaughtered them.
Yeah, because we're not seeing a good football out there, and there's some good footballers.
Because we were, being Arsenal fans, we were spoiled.
We were spoiled with great football. Shrev says, Robbie, it was never the Mikel project. It was always the wages which attracted average old Chelsea players. What's Cech doing? And even Willian wants to go back.
Well, the William transfer's a nightmare.
And Chris...
really hope he ain't there.
Chris says, we can't blame KSE. Blame the recruitment. We've had enough investment to be better. You can't expect KSE to invest when we don't buy players that generate future profits. Recruitment is an issue.
Odegaard, we only just got him, so we don't talk about selling him, but you've got potential there.
Yeah, if you look at the profile of some of the players that we've signed, Sambi Lokonga,
potential,
21, full of potential. Yeah. Really highly rated over there in Belgium, on the verge of breaking into the full. He's played a couple of games for Belgium, but breaking into the full team, comes really, really highly rated. Was captain of Anderlecht. Prospect, really good. The right profile of player that was looking to sign. Odegaard, same thing. 22, signed at 16, maybe too early for Real Madrid, but was at one time considered one of the best young midfielders in European football. Can come again. That was brilliant at Real Sociedad. If you ask Kevin Campbell, he would say when he was on loan there, did all right. Arsenal, young, 22, got years ahead of him. Right profile. Smith Rowe, right profile. Saka, right profile. Martinelli, right profile. Ben White, again, right profile of player. Young, progressive. Kieran Tierney.
Yeah,
so a lot of them, if they can all grow, and the manager can get the best out of them, and we start playing some... I honestly feel that if we did that, the fans will start getting behind that team. I think we want to see a team that we're proud of again.
The thing is, though, there is another angle to that. If we're not doing well, then the vultures will be circling Rob, won't they?
And then for these players.
Yeah, and the one I worry about is Saka.
Saka, yeah.
Because of Man City, because they could either come knocking at the door.
And especially at the moment, he's like, you see, like, he's a very loved player around with what happened in the Euros and that. He's a very loved player around the place as well. And everybody's now seeing his ability, and he's still so young. And of course, Man City are going to come circling. I think he has a good season this year.
I don't want to lose Saka. Rob.
They'll be around next year for him.
Yeah, I know.
And Smith Rowe, I can tell you, he'll be another one that they will be circling around. Villa were circling around him already. Villa.
That's why it's so important we get our act together.
Yep. Tim says, a Swiss Arsenal supporter, I swear we have Xhaka's twin playing in our national team, and we at Arsenal need the Swiss Xhaka.
Let's hope we see it.
We've got to see it now. Yeah. We've got to see it. From Granit Xhaka has been given more chances than any other Arsenal player in history. We now need to see Xhaka deliver those Swiss performances on a week-to-week basis for Arsenal. You're a senior player. You've been here a long time. You have to deliver now. Must deliver.
Thing is, he signed a contract. I've still not seen it announced.
That's been a real funny. Because they obviously know he's going to be greeted with negativity. Which is
wrong. No, but that, in a way, that is wrong, Rob, isn't it? Forget what we're calling player X. When you announce a contract, you shouldn't be scared to put it on your official website, should you?
What if player X took the armband off and threw it?
I know.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
but I know that. I keep going back to the bold decisions. The bold decisions.
That's a great point. He's going to be. He's going
to be judged now.
It's massive for him.
I hope he does. I hope he does well, man. Because I kind of like the way in which he's being bold, but it's going to be judged as either bold or stupid.
If he comes through this, Rob, there is another angle looking at it. If he comes through it, it'll make him even stronger, and we could all be winners.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, he's been very brave here, because he could have took that 129 million and said, right, I'm going to go out and buy 2 marquee signings, right? That every Arsenal fan's going to be jumping up and down at and say, yes! Look who we got, yeah! But he hasn't.
He's gone.
He's gone, and he's looked at the profile of players, and he's really... Now, that's either going to prove that we turn around in a year's time or 2 years' time and we say, yeah, look at that. He's a guy. He's a thinker, deep thinker.
Perhaps he's
done his own work.
He's gone down the Leicester route. They don't buy big names.
Yeah.
Perhaps he's a new plane.
The only thing is that when they buy them, they're a lot less in money. Yeah, not 50 million quid.
I think when Arsenal come calling, it's always a little bit extra. So we still have a bit of a reputation.
It's a lot extra for Ben White.
That's Arsenal FC for you.
I mean, could he have gone and got someone similar to Ben White for cheaper?
Possibly, but he wanted Ben White.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what you want.
You got him.
You got him. There's no excuses.
Yeah.
It's a bit like sometimes here with the guys, right? They would say to me, like, I remember we see these cameras that we're looking into now. I remember we bought those cameras, right? Is Brendan there? Or Josh is there? They're like, yeah, Robbie, these black magic. I go, yo, listen, let me tell you something, yeah? How much are they? When they showed me, I nearly fell over, right? I said to my guy, yo, let me tell you something, yeah? These cameras better be bloody improve what we do, right? Because if not, it's on you lot, right? Because you lot told me to get them. That's a bit like a sort of like a cronky move. Yeah. So you told me to get them, they better be good. Yeah, and then they said, Robbie, you know what? We need this mixer thing. To mix, I got bloody good the cameras. You got it. No, but we need this. If we ain't got, I said, all right, I'm gonna get that too. But anyhow, that don't work. It's on you lot. And then they got some other bits. But I have to say, they were right. Well, it's improved everything. Their judgment was right on it, right? It's a similar thing with Arteta. Yeah, you said, get Ben White. You've got a cronky. You said Ben White. You said Odegaard. You said Aaron Ramsdale. You better be right, bro.
And he might be saying something else next week. You don't know. He might have something else up his sleeve.
Actually, you make it. What else we need?
I still like to buy a striker, but it's all depending on obviously one of them going out the door, and I can't really see that.
180.
I like to sign a right back. I must admit.
I don't think we had all these rumours about Aubameyang, and I was chatting to.
On that note,
we got some breaking news. What's this?
On the Arsenal website.
Oh, okay, some breaking news here, just handed to me by Turkish. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has tested positive for COVID-19 and was unavailable for last Friday's match at Brentford. Aubameyang is now negative on COVID-19 testing and is well following all protocols for return to play.
Good.
He will return to training and will be assessed before Sunday's match, so he can figure in it. That's a bit of good news, Chris.
Yeah, it cheered me up.
And Alex Lacazette tested positive for COVID-19 and was unavailable for last Friday's match at Brentford. Alex is still recovering and is still not available for Sunday's match. Now, thank you very much for that, Turkish, that bit of breaking news. Why didn't they tell us that last week? Why did they not? I was like, we've had a whole week Aubameyang linked with Barcelona. There's 5, I saw one headline even this morning, 5 players lined up in swap deal for Aubameyang. Aubameyang and Lacazette, there's something going on behind the scenes, argument between them and Arteta. That's why they were left out. They're ill. And that wasn't even broken by the club when they said they were ill. That was broken by, I think, Chris Wheatley or one of them journalists. Then the news that came out this week, they're probably going to miss Chelsea. That was broken by, I think that could be Chris Wheatley as well. That was broken by a journalist as well. Why didn't they tell us? There's nothing wrong with saying the man got COVID, right? It's going around now. I heard COVID's going around. Have you heard about it? Did you hear about this thing called COVID?
Yeah.
It's going around, Chris.
Well, I don't understand.
So you can get it.
Why
didn't they just say? Why?
I said it's very strange, Rob. But the thing is, there was another rumour that the game last Friday and he nearly got
called off. I heard that as well.
And
yeah.
I wonder. I mean, were Arsenal pressurised into playing that game? I wonder. You don't know, do you? You don't know what goes behind closed doors.
So that's the reason we were so bad.
Possibly. There's an excuse anyway. No, but let's be serious at the moment. Arsenal could have avoided all this. We'd like to announce they've got COVID. What's wrong with that?
We might not have even been as hard on Arteta if we'd have known that news. Yeah. Because if you think about it, right? I was talking to someone the other day and I was going, do you know what? I tried to, because I said I'm going to try and be positive. So I was like, let me try and remove some of the negative stuff and let me try and look on this thing realistically. Now we know anyway. 2 players affected with COVID.
Right. Your
2 main players really. They're out with COVID. No Gabriel, out injured. No Partey, out injured. Right? Having to play a kid up front. And Eddie Nketiah, out injured as well. You're having to play a kid up front in Balogun, first debut. Gabriel Martinelli just got back from the Olympics, has not played a pre-season. He had to be thrown straight in. There was a lot of mitigation around that game. The performance was still horrible, by the way, but there's a lot of mitigation around that game. So I don't know why they didn't just come out and say that they both had COVID. I thought, even when I was at the game, I was saying to somebody, they must have COVID for both of them to be out.
But the thing is, Arteta didn't help himself, did he? Because, do you remember when they interviewed him, he said, they've told me they're not well. Not they're not well. And that's got people's...
Yeah, it gets you... If you don't come out sometimes and be a bit more specific, this world of social media that we all live in, people start to think, nah, man, I heard this and I heard that, and they start to put 2 in. And you know what some of these journos are like, and that.
Perhaps, I mean, it's totally left field. Perhaps it's patient-doctor confidentiality. Perhaps he didn't want people to say he had COVID. You don't know, do you?
Yeah, but you know that if you don't come out and say it,
all this starts up.
This starts up. We've had a week of it. That has been on top of the bad result. We've had a week of Aubameyang's leaving. Aubameyang don't care. Lacazette don't care. All that time, the two poor guys, they're suffering from bloody COVID.
Perhaps we got a persecution complex. Perhaps we love it. Perhaps we love negativity. I don't understand it, Rob. Perhaps one of the journos can ask the manager tomorrow. Mikel, can you explain what the big secret was about these two players contacting COVID and why you didn't tell everyone?
Must be the Arsenal strain. AT Football says, hey Robbie, are you going to the game this week, or will you still be doing a watch along? There will be a watch along, of course. It was a brilliant one last week. I will be at the game. You going to the game?
Yeah, of course I am, yeah.
Sure?
Positive.
No, I thought someone told me you're going Lion King instead. You go and watch it again.
I'll be there Sunday.
You'll be there?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, Chris, man, why didn't they tell us? I'm still...
Yeah, it's strange.
It's strange. It's just...
I would like an explanation. Perhaps someone will ask the manager tomorrow.
I'll get you in those press conferences.
I'll be thrown out, mate.
I think so, yeah. Gurdy says, I have two questions. Will you go to the Arsenal versus Chelsea game? And if we don't get Aouar, who would you get instead of him? Well...
I don't think... I can't see it, Rob.
I would love to get Aouar as well, but I can't see it.
No.
And of course, yes, we will be going to the Arsenal-Chelsea game.
I think a right back will be my next port of call.
Yeah. Actually, you know, on that, whether you go to the game or not, I was listening to the guys yesterday, Turkish and Dan Potts, and they were sort of talking about, you know, because I think there's a protest at the game on Sunday, and they were talking about protests, and they were talking about what we can do to, because they're, especially Turkish, I know, focus still on the owners of the club, yeah? Do you think protests work? Because there's going to be one this Sunday.
All depends how big it is, Rob, and how much impact it has. That's the answer to that. But
do you go on them?
No. I've had my protesting days. I did that right back in the 70s, and that was Terry Neal and things like that. I'm too old.
You one of them in March on the town hall?
Yeah.
I heard about that.
I've had my...
I can just imagine you, a young you right at the front. Neil, get out!
Yes, I was there, mate. It's just a personal apex.
Yeah.
I've had all that, Rob.
Does it work then?
Possibly, but I'm not
worked
sure.
For Terry Neal, didn't it?
Yeah, but you had a different board of directors then. You had Dean, Hillwood, Fryer, etc. I mean, and they did stick with Terry Neal. I mean, they bent over backwards not to sack him, but they did in the end. I'm not too sure with the Cronkies.
So you don't think protest works?
No.
What do you do then?
Not really. You just don't go. You walk away.
Yeah, but that's so hard, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, it is. You just walk away, and people are. That's the sad thing. People are walking away, Rob. I know fans that have been going for years just stop going, and that's sad. But I mean, I will always go, but that's me. Because I'm a lunatic, so I need pain inflicted every 2 weeks. No, it's not. It's up to the individual. If you want to demonstrate, good luck to you. That's not just about football. That's everything. If you feel that badly about something, you should. Don't just stand and hide. Put your face forward and demonstrate. But my days of doing that are over, Rob. But it doesn't mean I'm saying that you shouldn't.
Yeah,
that's me.
Because I think there's going to be, there is a protest on Sunday, and there are still some, still a massive amount of fans that are. Listen, the majority of fans are unhappy at the moment.
No, of course they're not.
The protests. It's going to be interesting to see how the protest gets directed. Is it the protests going to get directed at what I feel is the main problem, which is the owners?
I think the last thing...
I don't know. I really don't want the protest to be directed at Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, same here.
Because, whatever you think, it's one loss.
Yeah.
It's one loss. And you never know. He could go and... Remember the last time when we played Chelsea last season?
We had to beat them.
I think we were going in even worse time than we are now. And he actually... That signalled the turnaround, didn't it?
Thing is, Arteta is facing the perfect storm, Rob, isn't he?
Yeah.
Really hard games. International break coming up. We all know what happens in international breaks. Managers get dismissed, and you got the possibly the empty stadium scenario. people, there's loads of tickets.
There's been
on
reports
sale.
that tickets ain't been sold out, which is a shock. Playing against Chelsea, kids are on holiday.
Yeah, that's the last thing you want as a manager, to look around and see an empty. Because in the end, that got rid of Wenger.
Yeah,
and in the
empty
end,
seats, sponsors speaking out as well.
And in the end, that gets rid of a lot of Arsenal managers.
Yeah,
I've seen that. Once you see the gates go down, people not walking through the turnstiles. That's when the old alarm bells.
Unheard of. The first game of the season not sold out.
But then
I've never heard of that.
You got to remember though, there's a lot of other reasons for that. You got 15 to 20% of no foreign supporters in the country won't be coming. All the fans from Norway and places like that. That took a lot of. We had a lot of people like that. Then you got people, I know, who was too scared to come back still, and a bit nervous, because then you got the unfortunate thing, people that are no longer with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's been a few.
Yeah, but Chris, that's the same in every team.
Yeah, but I'm putting
and I'm looking like when I see all teams that were playing at home.
Yeah,
it was packed at Brentford.
Lane. Look at
it was packed at White Hart Lane. It was packed at.
I'm only coming up with
it's packed at Old Trafford.
And also, you got people who are damn right fed up with the team, Bob.
I think that's the main reason at the moment.
The pricing.
Well, and that's been an eternal problem. And this is what Mikel Arteta is going to have to turn around. And listen, we've come to the end of the show. Big up Zubar. He put in some emojis there saying that Arteta during his tenure, I think he's thinking. We've come towards the end of the show. Chris has been brilliant. Again, when you're on here, it just flies. It's like I've been talking for about 10 minutes. Absolutely brilliant once again. Great
Thanks,
to have
mate.
you on, mate.
Cheers.
We have to get you back on again next week.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Well, by then, I think we'll know where we are then, won't we? We would have played Chelsea, done West Brom. I think, win will be near. Yeah, it'll be quite an interesting week ahead of us, Rob.
It's either going to be what were we all worried about, or
it's going to be awful.
Yeah. So let's hope it's not awful. And once again, just giving you that news that, that breaking news coming out of Arsenal, that Aubameyang and Lacazette both tested positive for COVID. That's why they missed that game against Brentford. Aubameyang hopefully could be back in training and might be available for the game on Sunday against Chelsea, and that'd be a boost. But it looks like Lacazette hasn't recovered yet. Still not doing great with the COVID. So get well. Yeah, get well soon to both of them, especially to Lacazette and to anybody else out there who's got COVID. It's a horrible, I've had it. It's not a nice thing, trust me. So, listen, I want to thank everybody who's been watching the show today. It's been absolutely brilliant. Over 9,000 people, over 1,000 likes, fantastic. Thank you very much for your support of News Daily. We will be back tomorrow. What we're going to be doing tomorrow, we're going to be looking ahead to the game at the weekend. We've got a Chelsea fan who's going to be joining us here in Lewis, so he'll be joining us here. We're going to look ahead to that game against Chelsea at the weekend. Massive game. Don't forget to check out all of our content around it. And there's a great box-to-box that Turkish did with a Chelsea fan as well, getting the lowdown on the game this weekend. But it's massive. Arsenal versus Chelsea on Sunday, and of course we're going to have a match day live. We'll be watching along to the game in the studio. We're going to be at the game as well. We're going to be all over that game, so make sure you keep it locked here on AFTV. But once again, thank you very much to the legend himself, Chris Hudson.
Cheers, Rob.
Thank you very much to the production team, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning for another Transfer Daily as well. And listen, some incomings, Odegaard, Aaron Ramsdale. Let's be positive about that.